what happened in Grenada was in 1979, the president of Grenada came to the United States for a meeting at the UN. And while he was here, the Grenadian Revolution took over. They overthrew the government. And they took all of the cabinet members, the congressmen, senators, and they put them all in prison. So they was in prison for 4 years. 4 years, from 79 to 83. And what happened in 83, well, first of all, the guy that was the leader, his name was Maurice Bishop. So he appointed himself dictator. And then he got with Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro was his mentor, teaching him how to be an up-and-coming dictator. And so him and Fidel Castro gets together, and they've been backed by the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union is backing Fidel Castro. So they build this new runway down there at Point Salinas. And it's not just an ordinary runway. It's called a Class B runway. It's about 10,000 feet long, which you can land any aircraft in the world, including the space shuttle, on this thing. And they said they was building it for tourism. Well, you don't need a runway that long for tourism. And they started bringing these Soviet tanks in, Soviet equipment. And so all of this is going on. And they have brought all these Cubans in. And all of this is going on. And in the meantime, there's a medical school there, St. George Medical University. And there's like 750 American students there. So after 4 years, this other guy, his name Bernard Cord, he wants to be the dictator now. So now they start fighting each other. So the revolutionists and the other revolution, they fighting each other. And they started killing civilians on the street. And they took Maurice Bishop, who was the dictator, and they put him under house arrest. And then people came and got him out of the house arrest, and they ended up shooting him in the courtyard, executed him. And so now they implemented martial law. And Ronald Reagan was afraid that they're going to start using those Americans as hostages, as pawns. And so pretty ingenious idea, I'm going to tell you this little tidbit here, is that they had a radio station, it's called Radio Free Grenada, and every song they played had the word help in it. Pretty ingenious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every song they played had the word help in it.
Wow.
And all of the other Eastern Caribbean islands, because you got Barbados and you got St. Lucia and all of them, they're afraid now, because if Cuban and the Russian take over this island, they're afraid they're going to come and take their island too. So they was begging Reagan to do something. And he said, well, here we go. Well, anyway, that's my Reagan impression.
Pretty good one, too.
Anyway, so we formulated a plan. They called us in and said, hey, look, we're going to Grenada. This was right after they bombed the Marine barracks in Beirut the day before.
Right.
And so when they called us in on alert, everybody's like, oh boy, the Rangers are going to Beirut. So we packed up our gear and everybody could see we was on alert and we getting ready to go somewhere. And they said, we're going to Grenada. And everybody going, where? Grenada? Where's that at? And they gave us these maps. They was like tourist maps. But the good thing about it was they gave us the tourist map, but we had some spy planes that flew over, taking pictures of the island. And so we was able to take the satellite photos and overlay them on the regular tourist map. So we, knew where everything was at. So they told us we was going in, and the plan was for us to come in and jump at 500 feet, which has never been done. Lowest jump in military history. The reason being, they had these anti-aircraft guns up on the hill, and they figured that if they traversed down like this, we could fly under them at 500 feet and would get shot. So the plan was for the Navy SEALs, they're going to drop them off out in the ocean. They're going to swim up to the runway, and they would have eyes on the runway for us. So we take off from Savannah and we fly in about 4 hours, 5 hours. We were supposed to jump at 5:30. Well, we get in there and we get a radio report. The Navy SEALs got compromised. Some of them swam up on the shore. And they got shot up, compromised, and they tried to swim back out in the ocean. Several of them drowned. Some of them got dropped off out in the ocean, and the rip current, everything went south. So we're getting all of these updates as we're flying in. So they put us in an orbit, just circling around out over the ocean for about an hour and a half. And we're getting all these reports of Navy SEALs as lost people. And then they said, we're going in. And so we came across, and as soon as that plane pulled up, bullets start hitting the side of the plane that I'm on. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, my mom and daddy going to get a letter from the government saying that I died in a plane crash and I had a parachute on my back. And my parents, the first thing they would say is, why didn't he jump? That would have been the first thing come out. Well, why didn't he jump? So anyway, we pull up and bullets start hitting the side of this plane. And I'm like, just let me get out of this plane. If I can get 3 of them, it'll be worth my life. Just let me get 3. That's all I want. And we pulled up, and I was the 5th person actually to parachute in on the island. And so we come across that runway, and the bullets hit the side of the plane. I jumped out. I fell out of the airplane because at this time I'm carrying 105 pounds of my equipment. I had 105 pounds. So when I went to the door to jump out, I just kind of fell out of the airplane. So my parachute was open, but it was twisted all the way up. It was open, but it was twisted from here all the way up. So you grab it and you pull like this and you kick your feet and you spin around. So when I jump and I parachute all twisted up and I get it loose and I'm looking, green and red tracers are just flying by. They're shooting at us. And now the bullets could have been 10 yards, 100 yards. I don't know because you don't have any depth perception. So I don't know how close the bullets were. But I'm going to tell you, the first thing I did when I saw those green and red tracers, just like any red-blooded American would do, I grabbed my head.
I don't blame you, bro.
I grabbed my head and said, oh, my God. And then when I looked, here come the runways coming up at me. I'm getting ready to hit the ground. And I pull my rucksack and it hit the ground. I hit the runway so hard, I thought I broke my hip, my legs, and everything. And as soon as I hit the ground, bullets was hitting all around me. So I crawled up behind this. It was probably about 20 yards away. They knew he was coming, so they parked dump trucks, steamrollers, and everything on the runway, so we couldn't land on it. And there was this asphalt spreader. If you can see when they paving a road, the truck would back up and dump the asphalt in this thing, and it would spread it out. Well, that was one about 20 yards from me. And I just ran and dragging my parachute, dragging my rucksack, and I get behind this thing. So I'm going to try to give you a picture here. The runway is almost to the end of the island, right there. If you don't make the runway, you're going to hit the ocean. Okay, so the runway's going this way. The ocean is in front of me. Behind me is a hill, and the enemy is up on the hill shooting down at me, and I'm behind this asphalt spreader. And I'm behind it, and bullets are hitting the back of that thing. Bing, bing, bullets are. I was like, man, they got a bead on me. I grab my parachute, and I pull it over my rucksack, and I'm starting to get out of the harness. I got to do all these quick release and get it out. My M16 is strapped from under my arm, strapped down to my leg. I untie it and get it out, and I lock and load. And I'm ready to go Scarface on them now. Okay, you want to play rough? I'll play rough. Say hello to my little friend. But it didn't quite go like that. But I get my M16 out and I lock and load. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the ocean right in front of me, ocean all the way down this way and all the way this way. And I look back out this way, and all 6 of the other airplanes, they turn around and they're going back out over the ocean. Now, there's only 34 people on my airplane.
Wow.
All of us got out, and these guys up on the hill shooting down, and the rest of my buddies turning around. I've never felt that lonely in my life. I was like, whoa, what? So I grabbed my radio and I screwed the antenna on it, and I call up, hey, give me a sit rep, situation report. And they said, be advised, we're taking on too much anti-aircraft gun. Gonna have to take out gun position 1 and 2. And I'm looking. The runway is about 50 yards wide. And then there's a hill that goes up. And all the bad guys are up on the hill shooting at me. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. So I get all my stuff out and I grab a couple of guys. There's a couple of guys down here. Y'all get down here, come on. So they come down. I'm the sergeant. I'm the old guy. I'm 24.
Wow.
I'm a sergeant. I'm a platoon sergeant. I'm the highest rank. Y'all, come here. So look, we're not going to get any reinforcement until we take out this gun position. All right, just drop your rucksacks here and grab all the frag and all the ammo you can carry. We got to get up this hill. We got to take out this gun. They go, okay, sergeant. So we drop all over the side. So listen, best thing for us to do is just all get up, run across this runway, get it to the other side as fast as you can, and we'll fight our way up the hill. So we all get down behind this thing. You ready? Let's go. We just jumped up, start running across this runway, wide open. And that's a big area, you know. So we make it to the other side, and there's a little ditch. We get down in the little, hey, you guys all right? Yeah. All right, spread out. And so I'm telling the first guy over here, all right, go ahead and move out. And before I got it out of my mouth, he just jumped up and started running. So I had to jump up and just start shooting to keep their head down. I said, okay, all right, you move out. So I'm ready now. And I cover me. And so we get up this hill, and there's a CPU-4. It's a gun, anti-aircraft gun with 4 barrels on it, like this. And we get up there, we get the best of them. So they jump off of the gun, and they run into this little building. And I grab a grenade, and I throw it, and it hit the side of the building. Now, it doesn't do like in the movie, a big fireball and blow the buildings all. It made some noise, and a couple of splinters came off the building. But it made enough racket that these guys just come running out. 3 of them just come running out this way. And this guy over here, I think he was 19, he just shot 3 of them, just mowed them down. 2 come running out this way. I shoot one. This kid over here shoots the other guy in the hip. I think in the hip, and it knocked him down. And the guy kept trying to get up and stumbled. And this guy just walks up to him, 18 years old, and just kept. I'm like, oh my God, I got John Wayne and Audie Murphy. I'm looking at them like, and they had no expression on their face.
And these are kids, man.
I was like, man, like, what y'all want me to do? So, I mean, John Wayne and Audie Murphy couldn't have done this. I'm wow. And so we cleared the building. Once we cleared the building, we were going to secure the area. I heard the loudest explosion I've ever heard in my life. I thought it was a nuclear bomb. Boom, and we all hit the ground. And we was down, and it rattled my insides. It was so loud. And I was like, my God, what was that? And I looked up, and there was an AC-130, a C-130. It's a gunship. It's got a big old 105 howitzer sticking out the side. And it shot the other gun that was down probably another 100 yards from us. It shot it, just blew it to pieces. But 100 yards away, it was the concussion. I'm serious, it knocked my liver over to one side. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. And then by that time, we get down the hill, the rest of the airplanes coming over, starting to drop everybody else out. And I was like, Oh my goodness, that was, yeah.
Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
now we got to fight all the way up the runway because the rest of the guys are coming. We got to clear all of this stuff off the runway. The Army,
How many guys you got in your lineup now?
well, it was 34 of us at first, and now with the rest of them coming, we're talking about another 400.
Mhm.
So when they started jumping, there was still some fire going on. People still shooting at them because there was still some, a lot of Cubans up on the next hill shooting at them. So we had to get down the runway. We had to straight wire, these steamrollers and trucks to get them off of the runway. And then we got to fight all the way up another 1.5 miles up the runway to get to the medical students. Right at the end of the runway is the medical university. So we got to get there and get those students before the Grenadians and the Cubans take them as hostage. So we fighting all the way up the runway because they shooting at us all the way up the runway. We had to fight for another 1.5 miles to get to the students up there. And then we finally get there and go and kick in the door, and all the students, they hiding in closets, under cabinets, everywhere. And we like, hey, we Army Rangers. We're like, oh, and they come out of everywhere. They was crying, hugging us. And then we got wounded, and like, can y'all take care of him? Well, we're like first, second year medical students. We don't.
It don't matter.
So we start bringing them in, and they start getting into it. They start helping us out. That was pretty cool though. And the most ironic thing that happened about 3 years ago, it was in Grenada, standing in the ocean, about waist deep, and this American guy come out, and my buddy from Canada, we usually coordinate, and his wife and my wife, we always coordinate, to go to Grenada about the same time. And we standing out there, and this American guy come walking out in the ocean, and my buddy go, hey, is your first time to Grenada? He said, no, I've been here quite a few times. And he said, well, this is my third time. He said, this guy here, this is his third time. He said, but the first time he came, he parachuted in on the island, parachuted on the runway over there. He said he was an Army Ranger, and the guy stopped and he looked at me. He said, I got one better than that. He said, you rescued me.
Wow.
I'm like, what? He said, yeah. He said, I was a medical student here. He said, I'm Dr. Eric Johnson.
Wow.
He comes to Grenada every year to do selected surgery. He bring a group of people with him, and man, that guy grabbed me. He hugged me. He cried, and he wouldn't let me buy anything. Me and my wife could not buy anything the rest of our tour down there, our vacation. He took us everywhere.
What a wonderful story. Wow.
How does this happen? It's like, wow.